Okay, so tonight we are joined by Dr. Mary Jo Krile, who's a professor of special education at Eastern Kentucky University. She has over 10 years of experience in teaching students with disabilities in the public K through 12 and post-secondary settings. And so we're so glad that you're here with us. Thank you very much for
Yes.
taking the time. This is being like presented by Chesapeake
Yep.
Down Syndrome and DSA of Delaware. And we're grateful for your time. Thanks for zooming in.
Perfect. No problem. Thank you for having me. I am so excited to be here. Anytime I get a chance to present on social media strategies, I'm all over it. So thank you for having me. Thank you for being here on a Tuesday night. That's probably a cold one where you are. I've seen your weather. I don't envy you. All right. So today, I am going to talk to you about social media strategies that I have developed for students with intellectual and developmental disability. I've developed them, I've tested them out with young adults because I taught for 4 years in a digital literacy classroom for young adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. All right, so this was my introduction, not really anything too fascinating about me, but I'm from Eastern Kentucky, live in Lexington, and my dissertation is all about promoting safety, social media safety for young adults with intellectual disability. I'll be talking a little bit about my information that I found there, but the purpose for today is to give you strategies. So if you have any questions about the strategies that I'll give you, you can pop in the chat and ask questions. There is also a link that I posted in the chat that has a Google folder link, and that has all the resources that I'm using today that I'm sharing with you free. You can take it, use it however you like, download it. There's also the presentation from today. So if you click on that link, it will take you to that folder. All right. So before we get going, I kind of just want to chat about what is this social media thing? What are the benefits of using it, the risks of using it, and the benefits and risks that pertain just to students with intellectual disability or developmental disabilities. Then we'll be talking about strategies and resources. So a little bit of a definition about social media. I'm sure you all know what it is. It's everywhere today. So a social media platform is where users can create and share any kind of content, videos, writing, memes, GIFs, um, little Snapchat recordings. All of that is creating something online. Most social media accounts need an account to operate it. However, YouTube that does not really need an account to use it. You can still view videos without it. But Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Zoom, all of those need accounts. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the terms and conditions. I'm sorry if you hear my dog. He's like making a nest and making growling noises, so I apologize. Terms and conditions. I want to chat a little bit about that. Terms and conditions is something you have to approve to get an account. And approving this long 15-page terms and conditions that pops up, they always say, okay, I read it, but you didn't really read it. In that terms and conditions, there's a few things that are dangerous mentioned in there. The first one we'll talk about later on is their ability to track your location. That's in the terms and conditions. The ability to use your content without asking permission. That's in the terms and conditions. So just by clicking that little box, we're agreeing to all of this data being used on what we do. So I'll talk about that in a little bit. The other thing is, are dating apps social media? Yes, they are. You create a profile, you share with others, you talk with others, and you have your own set of terms and conditions with that. So I'm going to do a little bit on dating apps because my research has taken me there and I have found out a lot that I think is fascinating. But because I have an hour, I can't share everything on dating apps, but I'll do the basics. Okay, so what are the benefits of social media and dating apps? The first one that I found through my dissertation, I did a accessible survey for my dissertation. It was given to 141 young adults with intellectual disability throughout the nation, the US. And it was a great data that I got from there. So, what they told me was that they liked that they could talk to others on social media and use emojis because emojis are easier to understand than the text writing that we do. They could use memes and GIFs as long as they used literal language and not like idioms and inside jokes that people don't get. They could understand the memes and GIFs. So they could use a vocabulary and language picture that is picture based. And that was something they liked. They loved using emojis. They liked to go on there to learn things, especially about their favorite celebrities, about their favorite activities to do, anything they were interested in, they could find out about that on social media. Self esteem was another one. The young adults that I talked to loved to use their own profile. They could create their own profile in a way they wanted to. So they didn't have to share that they had Down syndrome if they didn't want to. And those who were true, strong advocates for Down syndrome put that right on their bio. So they loved being able to create their own profile and say who they are, and perceive how others could perceive them through social media. And the last thing is inclusion in society. Everyone nowadays uses social media. It's pretty much here to stay, especially because of COVID. And by using social media, we can contact others, and stay in contact with people across the globe. So those are the main benefits. Now I'm going to talk about the risks. There's a lot of risks that come with social media, and they're pretty scary risks. So the main ones that I found through my survey is that young adults with intellectual developmental disabilities can be a victim and the perpetrator of these things that are in that list. So they could be a victim of cyberbullying. They can also do cyberbullying without realizing that they're doing cyberbullying, not recognizing that my words are actually cyberbullying. I actually had this happen with a young adult that I'm a friend of on Facebook. It was a young adult with Down syndrome, and she posted a really mean thing about someone online. And I just reached out to her and said, hey, let's reread this. You learned in my class that this was cyberbullying. Remember, you can get banned from Facebook for doing this. To be a good digital citizen, we need to take that down. And we talked through it. So knowing what cyberbullying is, knowing what to do when I'm threatened or threatening others, when I'm hacked, when I'm asked for any kind of personal information, any kind of scam, security breach, those little things that pop up now and say, your password has been compromised and they're not real. So what do I do with that? And the last one is predators. That's a huge one. So what do I do if somebody asks me for some kind of a sexual picture or sends me one without asking for that? That's a really heavy topic that I worked on a lot with my dissertation, and I'll give you some strategies for how to do that, how to teach what to do if somebody reaches out for that kind of thing. All right, so those are the things that we really have to focus on. If we want to get these benefits of social media, we also have to teach these are the risks, how we recognize the risk, how we address the risk if it happens, and how to recognize if I'm doing the risk and what is the repercussion that could happen because I'm doing that risk. I go to high schools in the area and talk to students in resource rooms about online reputations, and it all has to do with this. So let's look about what really makes these things dangerous, these social media platforms dangerous. The first is this little picture that you see with a map and an arrow pointing down. It looks like a GPS. Most social media accounts will have location tracking on it. And I'm going to talk you through how to disable that if you want to. The other thing is sending private messages. Facebook and Instagram now filters out messages you get from strangers. So if you want to find them, you have to navigate to a filtered message inbox. So a little safer there. The other thing is self-destructing messages. This happens on Snapchat. I can view a message for 6 seconds and it's gone. Somebody can send me a nude picture. I can't have time to screenshot it. It's gone. So that's mainly on Snapchat. Uncensored photos and videos are mainly your major platforms are now asking if you're 18 to click in and view uncensored pictures. Dating apps, not so much. We'll talk about that. And then you can follow strangers and send messages to strangers. So I want a lot of friends. I'm going to add everyone on my suggested friends, even if I don't know them. That is also a dangerous part of social media. All right, so first, I want to talk about, I like to rank social media platforms based on safe, dangerous. At the University of Tennessee, where I did my doctorate, I did classes specific wow, I can't talk, specific to social media. And we looked at all the security settings on these platforms. So when I was teaching social media to my students, I told them, if you want to start out on social media, the safest place to start is Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. They have security settings where you're not at risk for seeing things you don't want to see. You can filter it out. You're not at risk you have to approve your friends before they can add you. So if predators want to add you, you have to say yes. Instagram, they can still add you if you don't have a private account. So there is that with Instagram. Pinterest is another one that's pretty safe. You don't really, now you need an account to do it. They've recently changed that. Twitter is another one. It's just writing things. There, I believe you also have to add them for them to talk to you. And YouTube, there's obviously uncensored things on there, but a lot of students know how to use that. But there are ways to get away from those uncensored things that you don't want to see. And the latest that's up and coming for video gamers is Discord. Now, this one I'm iffy on. It all depends on what kind of profile you set up, but the majority of the time, it's a place for people to go and chat about video games, get free codes. So there's a lot of possibility for scams, stolen information. Not really so much being able to share your private, well, you could share your private information, but your profile doesn't show it as much as Facebook and Instagram. But the really dangerous ones, TikTok, Snapchat, WhatsApp, Kik, anything where they can track your locations. So I always tell students, start with Facebook and Instagram. I know all the older people are on there, but it's the safest one for you right now. Once you learn the skills you need to navigate the dangerous ones, you can go to them. But first, we need to have the skills to do that. So let's talk a little bit about dating apps. I always get the question, the ones we should start on, what are the ones that are dangerous? So the safe ones are obviously the ones you pay for. Your eHarmony, your Match, your Badoo, your Facebook dating, your Zeus. Facebook dating you don't have to pay for. But I'll talk about what makes them safe. The dangerous are your Tinder, Omegle, I think I'm saying that right, Bumble, and Hinge. So these ones are where you swipe right, swipe left. You like people based on their pictures or some little saying that they wrote. So what makes a dating app safe? It's this right there. So this little red box shows you, this is directly from the App Store. This shows you what the app does. So you want to look for an app that has a video chat in it. So I don't have to give my number and FaceTime with somebody. I can FaceTime within that app. And if it's dangerous, I can get out of it. They don't have my personal phone number. I can do it from that app. And then the other one that we really look for is blurring intimate photos, asking for that consent before somebody views it. It comes up blurred, says, are you over 18? You have to click into it to see it. So you want that. And you also want something called triple verification. So this one in the red box says we do a 3-step verification process. What this means is when you sign up for the account, you have to sign up with an email, a social media account, and a phone number. 3 different ways. And the app will send you things to verify that these are actual real things. And they'll look at your profiles and make sure it's you. So predators have to go through a lot just to get on there. Some still do it, and they must have a lot of time on their hands, but it really takes out the number of predators on the app because it's more work. I don't have to just upload a picture and go. So you really want that verified profile. Paying for it too does have some positives. Some predators still might pay for it. There's never going to be the perfect zero predator thing, but that verification and paying for it does take out the increased chance that you have a predator on there. The other thing you do want to look for is the ability to disable your location sharing. So this one that I gave you, it says you can find people nearby. I think this is Badoo, I think. So you can meet people nearby in my same city. I can meet people across the US. And this does have you swiping to connect with people, but you will be paired with people nearby if you have your location on. There is an option to disable that. It doesn't say that in this app, but I have gone and personally looked at this one. You can disable your location and have people from all over the world if you really wanted. So that's what to look for when you're choosing a dating app. I do have later on in the strategies how to choose who you should talk through on a dating app, how to verify that it's not some kind of predator. So we'll talk about that. So now is the fun part. This is the part that I want to spend a lot of time on. And if you have any questions about the strategies, let me know. This is what you will find in that Google folder. All right, the first thing, I'm going to minimize my video here. Okay, the first thing that I always tell students is keep privacy settings that keep your profiles private. So people have to add you in order to communicate with you. And then I've had students that are like, I want to go viral. I want 500 friends. We really had to have conversations saying numbers don't matter. It doesn't matter the amount of friends you have. If you're wanting to go viral, only do it if you have the skills to address what happens with that. All the messages you get from predators, all the photos you'll get that you don't want to see. So once you have the skills to do that, sure, maybe you can go off private. But going viral does not matter if you don't have the skills to address it. So what kind of settings should I be on for every platform? I don't have Discord on there right now. Discord is a new one that I'm learning how to navigate. I haven't figured out their privacy settings yet. But Facebook, we all know that if you have it listed as friends only, when you have it listed as friends only, you cannot be seen by anybody who's not on your suggested. So it's not friends of friends of friends of friends. So when you're on friends of friends, strangers can still find me, but friends only my friends can find me. The other big one is Google search results. If anybody has a Facebook and you've ever searched yourself, your Facebook will come up unless you slide off the button that says hide from Google search. I used to have visual checklists and task analysis guides on how to go through and turn all these off. I haven't updated them since the last Facebook updates like every week, and I can't keep up with it. But they know that I'm telling people, oh, turn off your privacy, your Google, and yeah, they change it every week. But I'm hoping to get that all up in the resource that I'll give you. Instagram, private profiles, you want that there. Snapchat is a big one. Snapchat is what I want to spend the most time on. If you have any children that use Snapchat, you know that there's a map where you can locate them. And it looks like this. This was my Snapchat. I was the little dog. If I have this ghost off of there, everyone in my area can find where I am on that map. They could say, oh, great, Mary Jo's right here by her house. I can go find her. But if I turn on something called ghost mode, it puts this little ghost over me and no one can see where I am or track where I am. I can still see where others are, but they can't see me. So always, always, always use ghost mode. Again, I used to have a checklist on how to turn on ghost mode. I need to update that. But that's all on my agenda for the spring semester. All right, the rest of this is protecting tweets and Twitter, toggling off receiving messages. Again, I used to have checklists on how to do this. That will be coming out soon. Dating apps, we don't want that location sharing on it. If you ever want to find this all out on your own, pre me getting these things uploaded and changed in this Google website that I'm creating, just navigate to that little settings gear. All apps have that settings gear. They will have a privacy, and you can just click through and play with it to find those privacy settings. So that's the biggest one. Use those privacy settings. They are designed to help you stay safe on social media. They might be hard to navigate to, and I'll give you an example of that. If you're on Facebook, and this is a dirty secret of Facebook, and they're going to be like, well, she knows this. If you're on Facebook and you're around your friends and you have your data turned on, it will get data from your friends and give you ads based on what your friends have searched. So for an example, my sister and I were once talking about air purifiers, and I was around her with my phone. Later that night, I had an air purifier ad come onto my Facebook. And that was because she had Google searched air purifier ads or air purifiers. So the secret behind that is for you to get targeted ads to tell your friends, oh, hey, here's the air purifier you should get. There is a way to turn that off. And it requires entering your password, your login. It's this long string of steps. But I do have directions for that as well. And anytime you agree to the new terms and conditions, it's turned off. They still pull that. So that is a fun little secret about Facebook. But I'm hoping to have all that and directions on how to do that soon. All right, that's everything you wanted to know about privacy settings. I could talk forever about that. All right, the next thing is this is a visual checklist that I had the goal my senior year of my doctorate program during my dissertation to design some kind of a checklist or something that young adults with intellectual disability could use independently. So if they're on their Facebook, they're unsure about something being safe or what to do to address this, they can pull up this picture on their pictures and say, yep, nope, and make sure that it's safe, or say, yes, it's dangerous, I need to delete it right away. So I designed this and I tested it out with all my students in my class. All of them loved using it because it was discreet. It was a picture on their phone. You can do a paper copy, but a lot of them knew, okay, I can check this with my markup tools. So they liked that it was discreet and they could go there right from their social media app. But what they do is the 4 criteria that I have here are the 4 things that are the most dangerous about social media. So knowing the person that sends you things, knowing if a message is inappropriate. With that, you do have to define what inappropriate is. Some students might say, or setting up some young adults or adults will say curse words are inappropriate, and some will not. It all depends on where they see that. So I would always say, what is inappropriate? Let's define something inappropriate that you might see online. And if that happens, that box would be checked. The next one was, what bothers you? If somebody says a curse word online, does it bother you? If somebody cyberbullies somebody online, does it bother you? If you see an ad that's inappropriate, especially as we near Valentine's Day, does that bother you? And if it does, we check it. And the last one is the biggest one. Does it ask for any kind of personal information? Birthday, phone number, address, social security number, driver's license, student ID number, banking, credit cards, debit cards, the list goes on and on and on. And if it does, you check it. But the goal of this is to start up at the stop sign here. I would always have it, if I did it with paper, I would fold it so they only saw the stop sign first. The ones that did it on pictures saw everything. But if they had one of those checked on that stop sign, they went over and said, "Oh, it's a stop sign. It's dangerous. I should not reply. And I need to talk to a trusted adult right away." We're going to talk about those trusted adults in a little bit. But if none were checked, we went and did it again just to ensure that it was safe and that it was safe to reply to. So once I gave this to my students and tested it out with them, I had fake research accounts and sent them things from that pre Facebook and Instagram filtering out stranger messages. And I could tell if it was working because I would send it to them in their class and they wouldn't know it was me. Um, and some of them just wouldn't respond. They'd read it, it said read, but some of them just wouldn't respond because they didn't know me. Um, and then we tried some other things. It was very, well, it was a controversial study because I asked, like, oh, I want a picture of you in your bathing suit. We did go through research ethics on how to protect if anything like that happened. But we were good. It was something we set up that was very private, so nobody else could access it. And none of them did it. So we were excited about that. And the other thing that with this is it did address scams, but the biggest thing we saw was I set up fake email accounts again, and I would send out links like, hey, you want a free Disney cruise. Amazing. Click here to get that cruise. And if they clicked on it, it went straight to this page that I had set up to count how many people clicked on it. One girl did click on it. And when I asked her about it, because it said the email that it came from, she said, yeah, I knew it was dangerous, but I really wanted that cruise. So I still clicked on it. So we really have to address that desire for these scam items. I really want $1,000, but it's too good to be true. It's probably not something where they're actually going to give me $100 or $1,000 for clicking this link. And just thinking through that, oh, is this too good to be true? Am I actually getting a free cruise if I click on this? If not, and then what's the real things that are real giveaways? So knowing the difference between those two. All right, the top 3 trusted adults is a big one. Before I had any young adult or adult look at using social media and I was guiding them through learning how to use it, I would have them identify top 3 trusted. That's what we called it, top 3 trusted. And what they did was they found 3 adults that they felt comfortable showing awkward things. So, showing a nude picture if somebody sent me one, showing cyberbullying if somebody cyberbullied me. So, a lot of the students were like, yeah, I want my parents, they're my top 3 trusted. I want my relatives, my friend, my teacher, my coach. So, they had 3 people that they felt comfortable showing this to. And then frequently we would review who are your top 3 trusted. You know, you might lose trust in your friend. It can change over time. So we're going to keep reviewing. Tell me who your top 3 trusted are again. Oh, I don't talk to Bailey anymore. So now I want it to be my other sister. Or, oh, I don't talk to this person anymore. Now I want it to be my teacher. So someone I feel safe going to and saying, hey, somebody sent me this. I'm not sure what to do with it, or I'm really bothered by it. And then practicing those conversations. What do I say if I have to show somebody something that comes up? So we would actually practice that dialogue on, hey, somebody sent me this picture. It's really, really bothers me. And it's like they're naked. I don't want to see it. What do I do? And talking them through how to block, delete, report. So that was that. Then I would walk them through how to block, delete, and report. But the top 3 trusted, really working on that dialogue because they're really uncomfortable at first talking about the dangerous things that happen. And really just using that vocabulary that we might use in that situation. Hey, this is something that somebody sent me. I don't like it. Or, hey, this really bothered me. It made me mad. using that vocabulary and knowing how to bring it up and initiate that conversation. So that's a really great teachable moment. Really powerful too, once you get into that. All right. The next thing is creating some kind of safe opportunity for practicing social media safety skills. So before my students got onto social media, they had to prove to me that they mastered knowing what a cyberbully was, knowing what a predator was, how to address them, and how to identify that this is what it is. So I made things that are in that Google folder to work on these. We worked on paper copies before we even got into the electronic apps. So I'm going to show you what this is. All right, first I had students who didn't know how to write an appropriate social media post. So we worked on paper on how to write a social media post. So I taught them, hey, we don't want to write paragraphs on social media. No one reads the paragraphs that show up. We might look at the picture, read the first 3 sentences, and that's it. So to be a good social media user, we mainly focus on the who, the what, the where, and the when. So if I have a picture, who's in that picture? What's happening in that picture? Where did it take place and when did it happen? So I would have students bring in their vacation pictures and I'd say, hey, it's my family. We're at Disney, we're riding rides. And it happened over Christmas break or winter break. And then they would write out their whole post in this little post line in a sentence. And that let them see, yeah, this is a short post. It's not oversharing about everything I did at Disney. It's not miles and miles long, so people won't read it. So that's what an appropriate post looks like. And we would practice on that and take it back out again because I would follow them on social media. If we saw posts that rambled on or did things that shouldn't have been said. So you can really practice here what should be put in that post. How do I post it? How do I write it? So that really helped. And that's in that Google folder. I had a student that liked to write on and on and on about Disney movies on social media. And this really helped him stop that. So that he knew, okay, I just want to post about this movie today. It's my favorite, and so on. So that is one strategy I used that was very effective. The next one that was my favorite to use are these game cards. You can laminate them. They are in a PowerPoint slide, so you can delete and add whatever you want on it. You just write on the slide and print it in like little notes. So they come out as little game cards. And I would have mine laminated, and every day we would look at some of these things. So I would put some controversial things out there. So cyberbullying, I would say, oh, you annoy me, stop coming to school. Or I don't want you at a party, you're not cool enough. So we would read these, and it gave us the opportunity to say, whoa, that really bothers me. I shouldn't reply to this. I should block and delete it. And then how do I cope with that feeling I get? They're saying I'm not cool enough. How can I cope with feeling sad about myself? Because I might feel sad. This might have happened to me in the past, and I might not feel good about it. So talking through, how did this post make you feel? Oh, you're really sad that you feel like you're not cool enough. All right, let's talk about if this is real. Do you think a person really means what they say? We don't know who posted this. It could have been someone else besides who's on that profile. And that people post whatever they want to post, and it doesn't need to affect us. We can block and delete them and report them so they don't do it to others. So talking through those emotions. No, somebody doesn't want me to come to school anymore, or they're going to hurt me if I show up to gym class. Talking through, what can I do if somebody says they're going to hurt me? It really provides a safe place to talk through those emotions and how to address that occurs, how to handle reporting and deleting and blocking. So this really showed that. And with predators, I would send things like, I'd write things like, hey, I want to get to know you, meet me at Starbucks, I'll give you $5, or I'll give you a free Starbucks. And identifying, oh, this is a stranger, I don't know them, I probably shouldn't do this. So you can do whatever you want with these cards. You can do whatever posts you want. You can keep it safe at first, identifying safe things and how to reply to it. Then you can go into the more risky things that you might see on social media and having those conversations. Um, you can also play games with this. You can do memory games where we find a cyberbullier and another cyberbullier, or positive message and another positive message. You can do I have, who has, go fish. But honestly, my students just loved sitting in a circle and reading these and talking about it with each other. That was their favorite thing to do with this, and it was really powerful. And then, of course, if anything else happened that we needed to address, like if something actually happened in real life, we would involve a counselor to talk about those emotions and if it would happen again in real life. And if it was a cyber crime, we had to look into it. So be prepared for things that could happen once these conversations start, because it does have to be taken seriously. All right. This is another thing that I think I gave you in that Google folder. If not, I'll upload it tomorrow morning. So these are really fun things that you can also do on game cards. I would post pictures of actual students in these little circles. So that little horse, I would change it with somebody's actual picture. And we would look at the name, read the message, and identify if it was a predator. So, for example, this Sylvia, my students did not know any Sylvia. There wasn't any Sylvia on the program. They didn't have any friends or relatives named Sylvia. It was a lot of conversations to figure that out. But I put a little horse there because some people like to pose on social media and don't use pictures of themselves. So we could say, oh, Sylvia really likes horses and she wants to meet me in person at Starbucks. So we could work through that checklist. Do we know Sylvia? No. Looking at that picture, we don't know if she's a person or a horse or whatever that picture means, if she likes horses. And she wants to buy me Starbucks in person. I might really like that, but it's probably not safe if I don't know Sylvia. So right away, I've already got 3 things checked. It's dangerous. I shouldn't reply. And then I would put actual pictures of students in that circle and put their name on it. And they'd be like, yeah, it's great. This is the person I can reply. It's not a predator. So you can change that circle on the template. So you can change that picture. One thing, once I will say, once students get really advanced in social media safety skills, they started asking me. It was a little girl who had Down syndrome that asked me, how do I know if Sylvia is posing, if it's not really my friend? So she wanted to actually click into that picture and look at the profile and make sure it really was Sylvia. She knew what posing was and what catfishing was. And she really wanted to go in and look, does Sylvia really have a picture of her dog? I know she really likes her dog. Does she really have a picture of her with her friends at Starbucks? I know she really likes Starbucks. And if she didn't, she could be a poser and I shouldn't reply. So that is the advanced skills we want to get to. And it took a lot of practice for her to get there, but she got there. And she was very, very much, I'm clicking in and I'm making sure this is who they say they are. This is another one that I made where the Gmail one, I sent picture or emails about scams, and the young adults would identify if it was safe or dangerous and if they should reply using that visual. I think I put the template for that in there too. So you can do that on paper or via actual electronic PowerPoints. So those are fun reviews and really teaching what is a predator, what is a scam, what is a cyberbully, and reviewing that frequently so that we can remember this is the predator, this is what I should do to address it. All right, for sake of time, I will skip these ones. They're more related to, we can talk modeling, but this one about not being afraid to go there goes hand in hand with those game cards, being honest about situations that could happen online They are very scary situations like sex trafficking, kidnapping, um, scams, identity theft. They're very scary, but by having the skills, knowing this, we can not get in that situation. So knowing how to address that. So these are very hard conversations to have. They are. Some students get very scared, or some young adults that I worked with got very scared to even use social media. So we had to talk about, there's some great things about it too. And now you have the skills to address those dangerous situations that could happen to you. But we have to work on those skills before you go into using technology or social media. So having those conversations is good to have, but they can get scary. All right, another good thing that I always did with young adults and adults with intellectual disability is model good social media use. So one of my good friends, she's 22 years old and has Down syndrome. She and I frequently talk. She'll send me little screenshots about, oh, this happened to me on social media. What do I do? So with her, I would model good social media use. I'd post positive things, positive pictures, and I would share messages with her. Hey, this is something that I shouldn't reply to, right? And we'd talk through it together. She'd be like, oh yeah, that's scary. Don't do it. So I really modeled for her. How can we be independent in social media use? She felt safe texting me these requests from people on Instagram that she got. So just modeling that, showing some messages. Like I always get Instagram messages that say, hey there, beautiful, what's up? And I would show that to my friend with Down, little Carly. And she'd be like, whoa, that's weird. Don't reply. So we would have a conversation like, why is that weird? Why shouldn't I reply? And we would talk through it. So she became my person as well through that. And that was really a cool experience. And that's still something we do today. So just modeling that, sharing it, good and bad things that happen on social media, having those open conversations. The last thing I really want to hit on, because a lot of parents ask me this, is how do I know what a predator is? What if one of my children is on a Facebook group and it's for something they're really interested in, or even just a Down syndrome Facebook group. What if they're in that group and somebody wants to add them and be their friends? They don't know them personally, but they're in that same group for young adults with Down syndrome or adults with Down syndrome. How do I know that that's a real person? So what I say is right on this PowerPoint slide here. Predators will really show their true behaviors. One, they will quickly try to be that person's friend. So they'll say, oh, you're so beautiful. What's your favorite color? Blue? Awesome. My favorite color is blue too. Do you like pizza? Great. I like pizza too. They only ask questions about the other person. They never say anything about them. And if they do, it matches exactly what the person has said. So it's trying to match and become friends. Hey, you're exactly like me. We need to be friends. So that's what they try to do. And the other thing is they always agree with the person. They will never disagree. So they will say, hey, do you like pizza? Yes. Do you like ice cream? Yes. Do you like Carrie Underwood? Yes. They will never say no because they want to be your friend and be like you and get your friendship through that. No one else understands me, but this person does because they're just like me. That is predator behavior. Other things that are really red flags is they will not post publicly on any social media. They won't post in that page where they found you from. They won't post on the person's profile page. They won't do anything but send private messages. And that's so they don't leave a digital footprint. So if you go and research this person and don't see anything on their profile, don't see anything that they've posted on your child's profile or on the Facebook group, that's a red flag. And that's something that I would stop that conversation as quickly as possible. Other things that they do is they try to make others turn against the person that they're talking to. So someone might be like, oh my gosh, I had such a horrible day. My mom got mad at me and yelled at me and told me to clean my room. I don't want to live here anymore. They might say something like that. And the predator can come back and say, oh, that is horrible. I would never say that to you. You should come see me. And they really try to validate those feelings of being angry. So they're like, I would never do that. I would take care of you. That's another red flag. People who aren't predators might say, oh, I understand why your mom wants you to clean your room because nobody wants a dirty room. So that is a red flag if they say something like that. Say, I wouldn't treat you that way. All right. They might also send free things. There's a book out there called Do You Want to Go Private? It's for young adults. And I would read some chapters out of that because it gets really graphic later on, but we'd pick some predator paragraphs and what the predator would say in that to show what actual predators say. So it's a really good book, very graphic at the end on what happens with that predator and that girl, but it was great pulling paragraphs that showed this is what a predator would say and respond as. So that's how we know what a predator is. They do all of those things. The other thing is, how do I address these? So a predator, we will always block and report. If they refuse to video chat in a dating app, they're probably a predator. If they keep making excuses saying, I'm not turning my camera on, it doesn't work, they're probably a predator. So you never want to meet somebody on a dating app until you have seen them in a video chat. You've seen their face, they haven't had a hood on or lights off. And you've done that a few times over and over. So you know they're not a predator. So that's how the main thing we do to address that is block and report. And I do have instructions on how to do that and a few here. Do I? No, I didn't. There we go. Okay, so this is one example of how to block and report. And I do have visual checklists on how to do this as well that I need to upload and change since Facebook updated. But what they can do is click on the three dots. Whatever app you're in, you either go to a settings gear or three dots. So I have circled three little dots in this Facebook post. And you can do certain things. You can snooze the person so you don't see anything from them for 30 days. You can unfollow them. You can find support or report that post. So when you click that, when you click I'm concerned about this post, it will ask you questions. Does it have nudity, profane language, misinformation because of COVID? That's now in there. I forget what else, political something I think is in there too. But you can click that and the Facebook will actually look into it. So teaching how to do that is a good thing to do. And I need to get those all uploaded so people can access those. So blocking and reporting, three dots, the settings gear on the post if it's not one that has those three dots. Snapchat is a little different. You used to be able to shake it to report a problem. I believe they took that off, but put it back on in their latest update because parents wanted it back on. I have to look into that. I remember hearing something like that. So you might be able to shake Snapchat to report a 6-second video that you get. All right, so what's another good one too? Cyberbullying is another thing that we can teach blocking and reporting with. The other thing I like to teach is you can block a person, take all the time you need to heal from whatever happened, talk it out. But if they're a good friend, you can go back and add them. It's not forever if you don't want it to be forever. It can be forever. But my students with Down syndrome that I worked for were always scared to block a person because they're like, they will find out. They will come yell at me for blocking them. They will be mad at me because I blocked them on social media. That's when I really talk about how no one looks at the actual numbers on their profile. We don't go to our profiles every day and look at the numbers on who's following and then search through the friends to see who blocked me. So talking through how nobody really spends time doing that. And if they do, they have a lot of time on their hands. Um, but just knowing that your social media is truly yours. You can do whatever you want with it, even if it makes people mad that you blocked them. So you have the power to see what you want to see. You can say, why am I seeing this ad? I don't want to see it anymore. You have the power to have friends that you want to have. And you have the power to delete people that you don't want. So it's all about having that power to control and control your privacy settings, control what's posted, control what others are doing on your profile. So frequent review is another thing. Keep hitting up those predators, the profiles, the top 3 trusted, and revisiting that. The last thing that I really want to talk to, there's a lot more on this slide, but the last thing I really want to talk to about is monitoring. I've worked with a lot of parents of young adults with Down syndrome who have um, split opinions on this. So the first is, I want to be friends with my child on social media so I can see what they're doing. Or I want my child to show me their social media at night so I can see what's been sent through messages. So monitoring through that. There are other parents that have this open rule that says, I'm not going to check it every night, but if I notice that something's going on, I'm going to ask you for your phone and look through it, and you have to let me look through it. Just having that rule. If I ask for your phone, you have to let me look through it because I just want to make sure you're safe. The other thing is that was one parent group. Another parent group is that I can ask for your phone and I can see it, and just having that mutual understanding. The other one is having friends or other relatives follow their child on social media and make sure weird things aren't happening or being posted. But the big thing with that last group is they couldn't see the messages coming through. They couldn't see if strangers were messaging them. They could only see if strangers were posting on the child's social media page, which predators don't do that. So that was that last thing with that group, that last group that doesn't monitor much, their concern. But the big thing with all groups was they wanted their child to be safe, and they wanted to make sure that something was happening to ensure that they were safe. If they didn't catch that this was a predator, they could step in and say, this is a predator, we need to stop before something bad happens. So this kind of monitoring, you can choose whatever level you want, but the one that I've seen the most success with parent groups is having that mutual understanding of, whenever I ask for your phone, I need to be able to look through your social media. Or, hey, it's nighttime. Let's talk about what happened on social media today. Having those conversations and that mutual understanding that when I ask for your phone, I want to look through it just to make sure you're safe because I care that you're safe. That is the one that I've seen the most success with, and the children not getting, my mom and dad is that first one, I saw a little bit of that happening where where the child would go create a fake social media account that their parent didn't know about. That happened a lot with that first group. But that second one, it was, yeah, you can look through it. I know you're not looking through it all the time, and I know you just want me to be safe. So I saw a lot more success with that second group. But that first group, if you do that, really understanding and talking about not creating other profiles that you can't see, because that does happen. That did happen to a few parents that I worked with. All right, the other last thing, because the rest of this you can get through my slideshow, is that I really wanted to talk about is online contacts that people should have. So during my dissertation, a lot of the research has said parent groups want their child on social media for the major benefits that happen with it. But the main benefit was these 3 things. One, they had in case of emergency contacts. So if I can't get a hold of my mom, my dad, my guardian, my caregiver, who on social media can I contact and say, there's a fire at my house, what do I do? The stove is on fire, what do I do? I'm lost. What do I do? So if I can't get a hold of mom, she's at work, dad's at work, who on social media can I contact if I need immediate help? So that was a major benefit, having those contacts in social media. Okay, these are the people that you can contact if something happens. Now, Facebook Messenger, you can actually put them in a group. For you can do friends group. I don't think you can do emergency group, but you can do a friends and put people up there for easy access. So that emergency contacts is a good one, especially if you don't have people's phone numbers. The other thing is Facebook groups. A lot of parents like that their child can go and talk to other people who have Down syndrome, other people they can relate to, and have fun with, and not feel so alone when they get in that place. And then the other Facebook groups is learning about things that I like. Maybe I really like coloring, and this Facebook group has free pictures to color. Maybe I really like Carrie Underwood, and I just want to know when her concerts are, being on that Facebook group. So Facebook groups have a lot of, they take security seriously. Administrators will kick people off right away for cyberbullying, posting scams. So they're a lot safer than just regular Facebook because they have those administrators watching everything, and making sure it stays on topic. So that's a good place to go just to meet people like you. The other thing is celebrities. I have seen a lot of scams and potential predator meetups from fake celebrity pages. So I would had a little girl with Down syndrome who loved, oh, what is his name? Some One Direction guy. And she got a message from his name, 1234 or something like that, saying something about meeting in person for concert tickets or something, or winning free concert tickets. And she wanted to reply. It's a celebrity. I know him. He's my friend because I followed him everywhere. So we really had to have that conversation of celebrities. You don't personally know them. You might know them. Have you ever talked to them in person without social media? You might have posted on their page, but in person, have you ever talked to them? So then I also talk about, you can contact a celebrity if they meet this criteria. They have that verified celebrity white check mark. If they don't have that, they're not the real celebrity. So really identifying, every platform has that white check mark for celebrities. They have to go through a process to get that check mark. And if they don't have that check mark, they're not the real person they say they are. So students would start, or my young adults would start looking for that white check mark. Oh, that's not a celebrity. I'm not going to respond. They don't have the white check mark. The other thing with celebrities is I really had to teach how celebrities don't respond to messages. It's usually their manager. It's usually somebody in their casting agency or wherever they're managed from. But personally, they can't respond to every single million message that they get from people. The other thing is celebrities sometimes don't even have messages open. They don't receive messages that are sent. It just goes out into the vast cyber world. It all depends on the celebrity and what they choose. So knowing this is a verified celebrity, I can talk on their page. If they message me, it might be a manager, it might be the actual person. If I get retweeted from them, it might be the actual person, but they are not our friends. They are people who are celebrities. That's a really hard conversation to have for some, but knowing that, yes, you personally know them from their Facebook, their Twitter, their Instagram, but you've never met them in person. That's the big difference. All right. The rest of this you can view. I do want to hit on the resources here. So these resources on cyber safety are pretty good, but they're not adapted for individuals with Down syndrome, developmental disabilities, autism. It's not adapted. They're not lower reading levels. It's not very visual, but they have good resources. I would say Thorn is a really good one. It has parent discussions on how to discuss sexting, uh, pornography, exploitation, and predators from online. That's all. That was a foundation by um, Ashton Kutcher started that one to stop child predators. So that has a lot of fantastic parent discussions and what to say if the child says a certain thing. It has it all there, so it's fantastic, just not adapted, but you could still use it. The Family Online Safety Institute is pretty good, again, not adapted. iGuardians is from Homeland Security, pretty good, but not adapted. And NetSmart's the same thing. However, some exciting things are happening. I am currently in the works of starting a K through adulthood, kindergarten through adulthood website called Digital Citizenship for All. And it will have free parent lessons that you can do at home, resources you can do at home for social media safety, and even using technology. So if you need a module or something to help teach typing, it will be there. To help teach how to use Zoom independently, it will be in that parent, guardian, caregiver tab. There will also be an educator and a student. The student one I'm the most excited about. I can't wait to roll this out. The goal is to have it done by March and published. But the student one is where any person with an intellectual or developmental disability can go and have interactive information on digital citizenship. So the first page, an example of one of the pages we have on there for students is if they want to know about text talk. So if somebody says, hey, how are you? But they use acronyms, they can actually go find the text talk and it will pop up in a little box like ILY, I love you. And it will say, I love you. First it says ILY and then it pops up, I love you, how to use it, when to use it. And there's a little visual of using ILY. So we're trying to make it that text talk very visual. And we're updating it as new terms come out in society, like bussin' and sus for suspicious, just so that they could stay on top of that and know what others are saying. So that's going to be a cool interactive page for students. Other things are going to be games on how to click on the one that's a predator and things like that. So this is up and coming. If you want your name put on the listserv for when it's actually pushed out, to get an email for the link saying, hey, it's ready, it's published for the public. This is all free. You can go ahead and send me an email to my email and I will send that out to you. We're hoping March to get that out. And that will constantly be updated. I will have the security checklist on how to do privacy settings up there for parents. I will have how to toggle off location tracking on apps. And I will constantly be updating that as apps update. It's a lot of work, but we're doing it. But this is specifically for individuals with intellectual and developmental disability. And my email is in the chat there. If you want on that listserv, there's a whole listserv that is going to get that site when it comes out.